What is going on, everyone? This is Sonic Mix, and today I am here to give my review for WWE Monday Night Raw, September 5th, 2016. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Hope your Labor Day was a good one. But this Raw was not a good one. As a matter of fact, I felt like it did good the first hour and a half, and then after that hour and a half, it took a nosedive. I would say it was a nosedive, but let's go over everything that happened. So, the night kicked off with the Kevin Owens celebration. There was balloons, fireworks, and all that shedazzle. Now, I thought this promo was really good. I thought Kevin Owens did a good job on the mic. I loved how, when the fans were chanting, "You deserved it," last week, and how Owens said that they're trying to give the credit to themselves, or something along those lines, insulting the fans. And then Seth Rollins come out. And I actually thought he cut a first-time good guy promo. He was really going off on Owens, went off on Stephanie, went off a little bit on Mick. I thought Rollins was very solid in this. And the crowd was into him. They were loving his face turn, maybe this is not officially a face turn. This is a build-up to that face turn. But I enjoyed this segment. I thought it was good, and I thought it was a good way to kick off the show. And I give this promo a solid 3 out of 5. I thought it was that good of a promo. Up next was the first actual match. We had Bayley versus Charlotte. I thought this was a fine women's match. The match went on for about, I think it was like maybe 10, 11 minutes. Good, decent time. That's adding commercial breaks, of course. At the end, Charlotte goes for a roll-up. Bayley pushes Charlotte. I guess Charlotte kind of bumped heads with Dana Brooke. Bayley did the Bayley to belly and got the pin. 1, 2, 3. So she pins the champion. And then there was a little bit of an argument with Dana and Charlotte. That was a little bit later on. That was a backstage segment, by the way. But I thought this was a fine match. And they did pretty good in this match. I give this match a 2.75 out of 5. Not quite a 3. Like I said before, there was a backstage segment with Charlotte and Dana. Nothing too much to see. Charlotte basically then slapped Dana Brooke and then took off. Up next was the debut of Bo Dallas. First time seeing Bo Dallas since the split of the Social Outcasts. He fought some jobber squash match. I'm not going to give it a rating. Up next was Jericho versus Seth Rollins. I thought this was the match of the night. It was a very good match. Very good wrestling match, for that matter. Match went on, I think it was like about 15 minutes, maybe 16 minutes. Once again, that's adding with the commercials as well. At the end, Seth Rollins gives the pedigree to Chris Jericho, gets the win 1, 2, 3. Once again, match of the night. I thought it was really good. And I give this match, I give it a 3.25 out of 5. I thought it was, once again, a very good, solid match. There was a backstage, there was a backstage before the Jericho Rollins match. It was with Owens and Jericho. I thought it was good. Oh, and also, I want to point out something really quick. There was a backstage segment with Foley, Steph, Owens, and Jericho. And I loved the part where Jericho walks in, and he says something like on the lines of, you guys are looking at the longest reigning Universal Champion in WWE history. I about laughed my ass off because it's only been 7 days and he's already the longest reigning WWE Universal Champion. I about cracked up laughing. I've said this already, but Chris Jericho is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think this is his best run he has ever done in the WWE. And I wish he did a lot more like this back years ago, but I'm happy he's doing this now because it is damn good. And then next match, we had Cesaro versus Sheamus in the best of 7 series. This was round 3. I thought this wasn't as good as the round 2. This match was shorter, and I'm actually liking the selling of the back injury that Cesaro had. And I liked towards the end where Sheamus was doing the Irish Curse backbreaker. He was constantly doing it, trying to break Cesaro apart. And then finally he gives him the bro kick. 1, 2, 3. Sheamus goes up 3-0. So one more and Sheamus gets the clean sweep, which is not going to happen. And actually they announced that round 4 is going to take place this Wednesday in London. I guess they're, or I don't know if it's in London or somewhere, but they're having a tour. And round 4 is going to be, I think they said London. But it's going to be on that Wednesday on that tour. So we're not going to be able to watch it unless somebody video cameras it, posts it on YouTube or Twitter or whatever the case is. I'm sure it's going to be on Twitter. And of course, I'll keep my eyes open for that as well. And then, like I said before, this first half was really good. And then after this, it just basically took a nosedive. Up next was the Shining Stars against Enzo and Kaz. This was an okay match. I wouldn't say it was fine. I wouldn't say it was bad. It was okay. I was a little surprised that the Shining Stars picked up the win, which now I believe this is Enzo and Collins' second straight loss as tag team. So I'm really hoping there's no split coming up between those two because those two are still good together. And I think it's way too early for a split. But Shining Stars pick up the win. A little bit of a surprise. I give this match a 2. I would say about a 2 out of 5. Up next was Nia Jax versus Ann Esposito. For the most part, this was a squash match. There was a part where Esposito was actually getting the upper hand, trying to pull off an underdog move, but we saw this coming that Nia Jax was going to pick up the win here. Nothing much to see. Squash match. Up next, oh yeah, this one. Let me cough this one for a second. We had Anderson and the Gallows promo. I was not a fan of this whatsoever. I think this is really starting to get dull. At least in my opinion it is. At one point, they had the futuristic version of the New Day coming out to very slow New Day music. Old people. The crowd was completely dead for this match. Completely dead. There was no reaction. Like, you could hear a pin drop if you could. Then the New Day comes out. They get a little bit of a pop, but the crowd was just not into this program whatsoever. I think honestly, the people were probably hoping that this match or this program would end like that. But it dragged. It actually dragged on a little bit. And they finally got rid of Gallows and Anderson. Then they took out the old version of the New Day. This was not a good program. To me, it's not a good program. And I really think Gallows and Anderson, in my honest opinion, if I was going to book these guys, I would book them like The Shield. Like this unstoppable dual tag team that you just can't beat. That's basically how I would do it. Just like The Shield. They were the most dominant force in three-man tag team until the team of Kane, Orton, and Bryan beat them. That's how I would book Anderson and Gallows, but that didn't happen. I give this a star, like a star on the dots. And I mean, I was thinking about giving it I would give it a star. just made it to a star. If anything, if this was any worse, I would have given this maybe like 3/4 out of 5. Not even a star, but a star is pretty generous. Up next was Darren Young against Jinder Mahal. Once again, you go from a bad program to a not so good wrestling match. This was nothing to look at. And this whole Young versus Titus O'Neil. Actually, Titus O'Neil actually took something right out of my mouth. He was in commentary, and Cole said something on the lines of, well, how do you feel about Darren Young? And Titus O'Neil said, well, I look at Darren Young and I look at his gimmick, and it's not good, and it's not good whatsoever. And I just said to myself, wow, he took the words right out of my mouth. Because the whole make Darren Young great again gimmick is not working out whatsoever. So I actually have to applaud Titus O'Neil for that one. But once again, the match wasn't good. Darren Young wins. Then, well, Titus O'Neil tried to get involved. It failed. But Darren Young still picked up the win. I give it a star. Once again, not a good match. Like I said, I'm not a fan of this Darren Young and Titus O'Neil build. It's dumb. Up next was Sin Cara versus Braun Strowman. I know I'm missing a promo somewhere along these lines, but this just wasn't really a good show, and there really wasn't anything major to really point out. Well, except for the Zayn and Kevin Owens promo in the backstage, which I thought was decent. Nothing really to talk about, which I'll get to that part in a second. But Sin Cara versus Braun Strowman. This was an actual match. This wasn't a squash match. Sin Cara tried to get the upper hand on Braun Strowman, and in the end, this match ends with a countout. Braun Strowman picks up the win via countout. This was an actual match, and I was a little surprised about it. I felt like these two tried to put on at least a decent match, which if that's the case, I give them credit for doing that, but not good. Wasn't a very good match. The countout was dumb. I give this a star and a quarter out of 5. Then that might be saying a lot. I know some people may give it a star, maybe even lower than a star, but I'm going to be a little generous. It's a star and a quarter to me. Up next was the Sasha Banks promo. This one I kind of liked a little bit. I liked the fact how she was teasing that the back injury was severe and that maybe she would have had to go into surgery. But then Dana Brooke came out. And when she came out, you expect that, oh, Sasha Banks wasn't really injured. And Sasha Banks hit her with a bank statement. And then Sasha Banks said that she was going to face Charlotte at Clash of Champions and go after her title. I was a little surprised by this because I actually thought it was going to be Bayley, seeing that Bayley pinned the champion, which was a few moments ago. So I'm guessing they're going to save Bayley maybe for a Survivor Series match. But then again, no, I think it would make sense. You could have Bayley against Charlotte at Survivor Series. Don't make Bayley win, because I think Bayley should not win the women's title till WrestleMania. But yeah, you could do that. I don't see Sasha winning against Charlotte at Clash of Champions. I would be shocked as hell. But I think they're going to make Charlotte hold the title to WrestleMania. But that's for another topic. And then finally, Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens. Now, I will admit, this was a solid match. I thought these guys had a very fine, good match. Not as good as their Battleground match, but for a Raw match, it was solid. I like the Exploder Suplex, by the way, that Sami Zayn gave to Owens on the outside. And I love the selling of the ankle injury. And I gotta say, Sami Zayn puts on one hell of a good sell on that ankle injury, because you really believe for a split second that, oh crap, is he really injured? Kind of makes you hold your breath for a second. But this is the problem I have. When these two had their match at Battleground, it was supposed to be kind kind of an end-all, be-all sort of thing. And I actually thought these guys were not going to touch hands again until next year, or at least by WrestleMania time. But it's funny, because this match was built up to be the final match, and they had a perfect blow-off at Battleground, and then they wrestle again. Common WWE logic. But it was a solid match. I'm not going to complain. Kevin Owens wins with the powerbomb. And then Roman Reigns comes out, goes after Owens. Owens backs away. Mick Foley comes out and says, so next week on Raw, it's going to be Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns. And if Roman wins, he will be added to the match, and the match will be a triple threat. I was kind of hoping it would be Rollins against Owens, just to build Rollins more as the face. So I'm looking at this match. So I see Roman winning and Seth being the anti-heel or the anti-hero. If that's the case, I'm fine as long as Seth Rollins goes back to being a face. If he goes back to being a heel, it would be the stupidest move ever. I give this a 3 out of 5. Overall, not a good Raw. Like I said, I thought the first half was good. And then after the Enzo and Shining Stars match, that's when it went way downhill. Overall score, I give this Raw a 6.25 out of 10. Not a good Raw whatsoever. I would check out Jericho versus Seth Rollins. I would definitely check that out. And I would check the Kevin Owens promo at the start of the show. Those are the only two I would check out. Everything else is pretty much skippable. Or watch it if you ever have time. But this wraps up my WWE Raw review once again for September 5th, 2016. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Leave a like, leave a comment, share this video, spread it out there. As always, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, twitter.com/SonOfMix1991, twitch.tv/SonOfMix1991. Links will always be in the description box down below. And until then, you guys have yourself a good night. And by the way, check out my video game footage of Battlefield 1, Doom, and Destiny. I think you guys will like it. Just want to point that out there. I may even leave it in the annotation somewhere or in the beginning of this video, which you might have already seen. Have a good night, guys.